Let's play! Hello everybody and welcome back to Let's Play Hate Plus. In between parts, I emailed Christine Love and Control-Shift-Tab, was it? Control-Shift-Tab? Control-Tab? How do I open up the Steam menu? Regardless, let's just open it up here. Okay. Go to my thingy. I want to get... Nope! Nope, go away from that. I want to get my achievements. How does one profile? That should be it right there. So, if I go to my achievements for Hate Plus, I got the... Where is it? Achievement progress. Right here. I got the achievement Cooking by the Book. You know, the Lazy Town song, which got an awesome remix, which I still listen to. You get it only by taking an honest-to-God IRL photograph of the cake you're sharing with Oh-Eun-a and email it to the developer, which I did. And, I was expecting it to just be okay, here you go, you've unlocked the achievement, but they actually gave me a time-specific code that you type in on the main menu. Crazy stuff, so, I did that. So that's fun. Alright, well, let's get back to some more reading. So if we look, I don't know if we have any unread documents right now. We don't. So, let us go and not only read some of those, but we also have the ability to extract other files now. So if we go back, there should be more stuff. So we have this one, which we couldn't get at the beginning. This one that we couldn't get near the beginning. This one, and we can't get any of the bitmap data yet, sadly. But let's just get all the ones that we couldn't get before. So there's some new ones, which I didn't even read what they are, but we will read right away. So yeah, I think that that's such a cool idea for an achievement. It really, like, makes this game feel more real, like you're actually communicating with an AI through a computer screen. It's really cool. So now we have Co-Conspirator by Oh Eun-a. I cannot pronounce those names. Dear little sister Mi-seon. Little sister to her. Sorry about not coming home until late last night. I didn't realize you were already asleep by the time I got into bed. I'm sorry for disturbing you. I'm afraid it's going to be another late night, as the reception yesterday evening went much later than expected, and now I have to catch up on all the work I was going to do. It's the same old irrational nonsense from the Department of History I was telling you about before. I'm gonna have to fire the department head, and there is so much paperwork involved. I even have to run it through my father, Counselor O, annoyingly. The reception went wonderfully, though, much better than I expected. You know how I feel about social events like these usually. I find them utterly pointless, and my obligatory attendance to be a waste of everyone's time. Politics are truly loathsome, and I really despise how overbearing they become lately. So I was at the reception, desperately trying to avoid being dragged into some tedious nonsense by my father, and instead focusing on chatting up a bookish gentleman who seemed to share my disdain for the whole thing. Wait, what? That wasn't what I was expecting from her. True, yeah. I laughed at his unfunny jokes, nodded along a little, let him think he was encouraging me to drink a little bit more than I'd like. You know, the usual. At first I just thought it was a good chance to, no offense, finally get laid by a man for once. By a man for what? Oh, okay. But then I found out who he was. Banana Assassin is now playing Saints Row 4. It's exactly what I wanted to see. I'm trying to... Justin! And I think there's a lot more opportunity here. I was actually surprised to find out that he's Ryu Hyun-soo, the counselor of captaincy. I didn't mention it sooner because everyone's got opinions, and I was worried that you'd be the type to needlessly bitch about politics even at a party, he said, very agreeably. You can't escape those people these days. I'm glad you're not one of them. Me? Oh no. I think people get distracted by them too easily instead of focusing on the things that really matter, I said, summarizing my thesis about the myopic social deconstruction caused by increasing discourse of democratization in a single line. I understood that. As if I was like, I don't know, 5 years younger, I would be like, I don't even know what that means, but I do now because school. And what is it that matters to you? He tentatively tried to put his arm around my shoulder. She seems to use a lot of big words. I don't get it. Well, I mean, big words are important. And I shifted to let him while I thought about what to say in order not to intimidate him too much. The future, I finally decided on. Everyone's always about the now these days. They certainly are. Spoiler warning, the future sucked. They certainly are. Always with the power-mongering, always with the politicking. All everyone cares about is scoring small points so they can take a step up. Nobody cares about stability. He told me what I already knew. Stability. That reminds me, actually, I've been trying to push more of the classics into the curriculum. You know, Confucius and stuff. I wish things were more like they were in those days, where knowing your place was the most important thing, you know? Wow, I have to say, there's not a lot of women who would say something like that, he told me. It's unfortunately true. But that's really what I think is important. Like you said, stability. I worry about the future. I wish more people would. Yeah, right, if only. You can't tell anyone this, but I'm going to be announced as the new chief counselor soon, he said, as if there was anyone still left on the ship who hadn't had the rumor beaten over their head with already. But all the council cares about is pandering to their crisis of the week, rather than caring about anything long-term. I hate being put into this position. It's something I've been considering ever since he told me who he was, but I think there's a real opportunity to use him. I mean, not in a cynical, power-hungry, political sort of way, but I believe his discomfort at the current state of things could be leveraged to cause some major societal reform on a level that I can't do alone. I think we could change the Magungwa for the better. It would be radical, but he gives me optimism. Maybe this is a dumb question, I said leadingly, but if you're going to be the head of the state, why can't you just change things? Easier said than done, he said. I mean, I'd like to. I would love to see this endless political horror show of ours end for good. I'd truly love to. The ship deserves a lot better. There's only so much one man can do, though. What about one man and one woman? Is there anything I could do to help? I asked. There is, of course. Even then on the spot, I could think of many things two conspiring parties in the education system and in the legislature could do to enact a radical overhaul of society. Slowly, of course. It would take many years at the least, but combined we have massive potential to shape the discourse and create circumstances that make it clear what must happen to Magungwa to ensure its future. What I needed to know is if he really was a man who had the determination to do that. I don't really care about his ideas, those aren't what's important. What's important is that he's man enough to want it, instead of just whining about it. I was worried he might not be. Maybe it's just the liquor speaking, I said soberly, but you seem like the kind of, you seem like you're the kind of man who takes what he deserves. And what do I deserve? He asked, staring at me intensely. I stopped worrying at that moment. It was obvious where it would end, and he was good. Just knowing that he'd play the game with me after that conversation, I think it's a good sign. Well, you tell me, I said bashfully. Then he leaned in closer and stole a kiss from me. I quickly looked away, putting my hand over my face, pretending to blush. You're right, he said, removing my hand. I am that kind of man. I believed him. At that point, I slowly started to move away, making sure I looked bashful enough that he'd hesitate a little before letting me go. So, I should probably get going. It's getting kind of late, I said. He looked disappointed. It was perfect. When I first spoke to him, I thought I'd simply get laid. But if we were to... See, it's like she's speaking so, like, amazingly, but then she's like, get laid. And that kind of bothers me. Though I guess, like, would she say otherwise? Like, engage in an act of coitus or something. Yeah, it's like, I mean, I get that that's the proper term, kind of, because you're not just going to say have sex, but even still, I'm not sure. But if we are to have a lasting relationship, I think that's in my best interests. But if we are, yeah. Oh, I see, it's the whole okay. Silly English language. And I think that's in my best interests, because I think we have potential to do so much more together. Then I obviously can't just give that up right away. I want to apologize again. You can see why I was in a mood when I got home. Maybe if you want, though, We could talk again? About how I could help, I offered, hoping he'd take me on a date. He did. We're going to meet again to conspire after he's been officially declared chief counselor. But I'm feeling good. The night before last, I wasn't feeling optimistic about our chances of salvaging the awful hedonistic society we've constructed for ourselves. But given that I think with the chief counselor on my side, we can actually turn things around. I think it's only fair that I have to trade in my own bit of hedonism for... What does hedonism even mean? To Google! Define hedonism. The pursuit of pleasure, sensual self-indulgence. Okay, I get it. Where am I? Thanks for... Thanks for being so understanding and patient with me, little sister. As a result, I'm feeling more confident about the new school policies, and I'm not afraid to deal harshly with the Department of History dragging its heels. What irrational idiots. It might be way too much paperwork, but I'm still going to be glad to see heads roll. I'm looking forward to seeing more of that in the future. Mostly, I'm really happy I'm really happy to actually have cause to be optimistic about the future at all. Me neither! Anyway, that's why I'm going to be home late. Could you please have our maid send dinner down to the office? Who is their maid? Ooh. Please don't be a guy this time. Please don't be a guy this time. I'll try to be more careful this time when I go to bed so that I don't wake you up. I promise. Thanks. I'd really appreciate it. With love, Big Sister Eun-a. Interesting. Sure, we could totally take a break. What do you have to say? There's something I want to confess to you. Is it your love? If this is what your job is normally like, I think it's really great. I'm not being a burden on you, am I? You don't mind me having me as a sidekick, right? Excuse me, you don't mind me having me. That's a train wreck. I like it. It's awesome. Ah, me too. It's really great. I just really like being able to do something together with you. It's just such a romantic thing, casually spending time with the person you love. And, hey, Mr. Investigator, I think you're really cool. Traveling through space, solving mysteries. I can't wait until I get back to Earth. Doing footwork, interrogating people, being out there in the world. I never would have dreamed, when I was stuck in the women's quarters of an aimless spaceship, that I'd end up like this. So that's why I want to continue to be your sidekick. When I keep reading about these people from just 300 years before when I was alive, it reminds me a lot of my original time. But it also makes me feel like I'm completely unprepared to get by in a society like that. And that's just a difference of 300 years. Well, that's a lot of difference. So I think I could learn a lot from being an investigator like you, from being your sidekick. Can you tell me more about the job you're going to do when you get to Earth? It'll make someone happy. It's not an excuse, and it's not a paycheck. It'll make someone happy. Ah, that's so wonderful of you. So you're more than just my hero, then. Sorry, I know that's an embarrassing thing to say, but I just think that's really nice. It's also much more exciting than being a housewife. And a little bit romantic, too. Anyway, I guess I should probably stop distracting from the job you're doing now. To figure out the whole story about what happened to the Magungwa in Year Zero. Let's continue to work hard together. Oh, hey, we have an email. Let's give that a read. AI psychology. I know you didn't ask or anything, but I talked to an AI psychologist to get some context for the whole robot girl shit show you've got going. Wait, what? Going on. It's fine that you're the whole stoic loner type and all, but it might be good for her to get some help. Anyway, I've attached what they said. I figured you'd appreciate it. No need to thank me. Dispatch control out. While meaningfully different on a lot of levels, AI construct psychology is generally modeled after human psychology, and I've personally found this is where the problems manifest the most. Often, the biggest issue in AI-human relations has very little to do with any universal particulars of AI psychology, and more to do with very different perspectives on morality. Simply put, even now, human society is not really meant to accommodate immortality. Were an ordinary human to live for hundreds of years, they'd likely have a very similar experience. When you do a single thing for centuries, you eventually hit limitations of differentiable skill. For example, a 500-year-old artist is no more experienced than a 300-year-old artist. The difference is so subtle, it's all drowned out by other factors to most people. At a certain point, too much experience actually becomes a detriment, becoming too overwhelming to parse and prioritize in most cases. Even given consistent processing power increases, as per Robinson's law, there's a supply. There's simply an oh my god, I can't read this. There's simply an upper bound in scalability when it comes to processing memories. Or is it processing memories or processing memories? Oh god. And after centuries, this begins to take a toll. What this translates to generally is a feeling of overwhelming oh my goodness, these are words. Despondency. Although to much younger beings, AI included, these sentiments can feel more akin to an old man shouting, "Get off my lawn!" Yet it comes from a greater sense of ennui than that. Feeling of one's own mastery and knowledge of a subject being trivial compared to societal trends that become increasingly alienating. It often contributes to a feeling of helplessness. What was pioneered in the 27th century AI psychology, then called robo-psychology, oh my god, I love that term, was the idea of re-specialization. For beings that exist in social spheres with humans, the best way to stave off those feelings is to consider the much larger scale, and instead focus on energies, on a whole new field, where learning new skills has a much larger personal impact than refining something one has already mastered. For example, I personally used to work as a photographer, until moving on to human psychology, then later AI psychology. I still take some pictures now, of course, and keep up the work with the people like Mark Lee, but I find it's much easier to be positive thinking and optimistic if I don't consider advancement of that medium to be important in my life anymore. I'm sure someday I'll feel the same way about psychology, finding new limitations and attitudes to be frustrated by, but it'll be comforting to know that I could help people while I was emotionally able to, no matter how cynical and slow I'll inevitably get. Generally, I find a good time to consider respecialization is around the 400-year marker, although obviously it depends on each individual. I don't know about your particular circumstances. Sounds like culture shock is also a very significant factor, and that can change things a lot too. I would be very happy to speak with the construct in question. Don't call her a construct, that's terrible. At my private office on Earth, though. Consider a personal favor for all you've done for me in the past. Dr. Autumn. Oh my god. Dr. Autumn is an AI. Oh, that is so cool. I was like, wait, how old is this person? But that's really neat. That's really interesting. Well, guys, next time we'll continue reading some more then. So, see you next time. Ciao.